transitions and overall progression in wingfoiling. It's kind of a follow-up video that I've made before on tacking and foot switching, and this one just a summary of progression, overall progression, I would say. So to start with, board size really matters. The smaller the board, the easier it is to do all the things. And the size meaning it's mostly affecting swing weight when you have a big board, but also the width of the board and the length affects as well. Every time you touch basically the water, if it's too big of a board, it's gonna grab on and most likely it's gonna ruin the transition and you'll end up in a crash. I would say to progress, it's best to use the smallest the board you can get away with. So in this case it's a 34 liter with a 5 meter wing and 1 meter span front wing. Works pretty well, but yeah, again, it's only on a specific day when there's enough wind to get me up with a sinker. And yeah, every time I put my 60 liter board, it's a massive difference in terms of like performance and feel. It's crazy different between 60 liters and 34. It's like every time I ride 60 liter, I just don't want to ride it. It's not fun as much as this one, the little one. Even this 34 liter, I would say it's not perfect. It's a little bit too long, and volume, I think it's about right for the sinker. But yeah, so far it's still my favorite. I would say to start with, it's best to dedicate a day, a session, and do nothing but feet switching and basically do it non-stop the whole session. Switch feet. The more you do it, basically the more hours you put, the more confident you'll become on the board. Now breaching is a funny thing. If you anticipate it and put some pressure into the side that it's gonna breach, yes, there's no problem. But as long as you don't anticipate it and it just happens, it just blows up on the water, the foil. It's a funny thing. But yeah, if you anticipate and put pressure in, yeah, there's no problem with breaching. Unless your front wing has the winglets that point downwards. Like on some of the SAB foils, there are winglets that point downwards. Yeah, those are almost impossible to recover once you breach them, because they just grab on so much air under the wing. It's hard, almost impossible. So all the modern winglets, they point upwards for that reason, to help with breaching. Basically do it just non-stop until you sick and tired of it, and eventually you'll get it. So next time you just want to enjoy it as well or anything, yeah, it's not a problem to do foot switching. Yeah. And again, I made the video before, you can check it out, about feet switching. Yeah, you can't cheat this one like any other transitions. It's just number of hours in water on the foil. That's the only thing. Yeah, keep practicing basically. Another drill you can do is, let's say for me it was tacking was kind of hard to do compared to gybing. Gybing, yeah, it was fairly easy. Tacking is hard, and so the only thing to kind of nail it down is just do it non-stop. Dedicate session again to do nothing but tacking until you're sick and tired of it, and eventually you'll get it. Yeah, it's another thing. Yeah, just number of hours. In any transitions, small board really helps because it's a smaller size, less chances to touch the sides, and swing volume is less, and it's stiffer, more lively feel. Yeah, definitely better choice for all the transitions, smaller board. Another thing to consider in winter, when you have to wear booties and things, it almost defeats the purpose of any sinker board, because those extra 3 millimeters on your feet, it's like adding 30 liters to a board. It's still better to ride smaller board if you can versus big board in winter, but just keep in mind that those 3 millimeters of neoprene, it's gonna add some rubberish feeling between you and the board, and it kind of defeats the purpose of a sinker. And so in winter I probably just do booties and sinker only on a super strong day. Yeah, otherwise just don't bother. And every time the wind changes direction just slightly, let's say it was northeast, now it's northwest, you have to kind of relearn all the maneuvers during transitions. It's not starting from scratch, but something to consider. Yeah, so each wind direction has some nuances to pick it up. So basically you need to try on every direction to be fluent with a board and wind in transition. Yeah, once you get those maneuvers down, it's just foiling becomes so much more enjoyable, and I don't know, you don't even think about it. The less you think about every maneuver you do, the higher the chances you're gonna basically pull it through. Yeah, the moment you start thinking is when things go south. Another helpful thing during transitions is staying high on the mast, up to the point basically. So it's a 85 centimeter mast, and I think it's a perfect overall height for everyday winging. And basically during transitions you need to stay high above, so your board doesn't touch the water, but not so high that you breach too much. As for the stabilizer and fuselage length, the shorter the fuselage length, the higher the chances you're not gonna breach the tail, and also the size of the tail matters. In this case it's a 3 to 5 millimeter span tail, kind of pretty small, but the fuselage could be a bit smaller. It's a 600 mil, but it depends how the front wing mounts to the fuselage. So the 600 mil axis is actually the same length as 640 SAB, because the way it mounts to the wing, basically the span front wing to the tail is exactly the same. SAB 649 versus axis 600. So I should have gotten a smaller one axis, it would be better. And also when you're dropping into a swell, the smaller fuselage definitely helps, so you don't breach. And yeah, during maneuvers, the smaller the fuselage, the less chances you're gonna breach as well, especially the tail wing. Once you get out, just have this mindset that I'm gonna do nothing today but practice new maneuvers. Either stick with tacking or feet switching and just do it non-stop. And at some point it will just click. Try to do it on a smaller board you can get away with. And yeah, once you get better at this, it's actually, you're gonna fall less, and so you can actually afford to go with a smaller board in a lighter winds, because you're gonna fall less. Otherwise, yeah, if you keep going with a sinker and you keep falling and it takes like 10 minutes to get up on a sinker because you wait for strong gust, yeah, it doesn't make sense. I still do it, but yeah, sometimes it just too much to wait, and yeah, you waste too much time, especially when it's cold. Yeah, and you up to your chest in the water for 10 minutes every time you fall. Not fun. Yeah, once you can do gybing, yeah, don't stick with just gybing, keep practicing maneuvers. The only way to progress is try new things and just keep practicing until you nail them down. Handles on the wing definitely help, so if your wing doesn't have handles, it's gonna be a bit harder. Not impossible, but harder. But yeah, if you were to choose, just get the wing that has handles. Not too long. These duotone handles, they're just perfect size, perfect shape. Can get any better, I think.